Okay, welcome back to Rock and Rattle Retreat. Fall of 2020. And we got fall of 2022. We are basically prepped for concrete. If you haven't figured out, concrete probably is not coming this year because we are freezing. This is not freezing, this is fall. But going up this time, had a major ice storm last week. Had to cut our way in, or my way in. I was told the roads weren't too bad. Usually when we get ice up here, it takes down a few trees. It leans over some of the smaller saplings, you know, up to like 3 inches or whatever of trees at the base. Not this time. So we are starting, I think this is lot 3. Heading not too far down the road. There's another one. Now, granted, I started up here at about 1:30. 1:30, somewhere in there is when I actually arrived on the road here. And I was, look at the ice still on the top of that one. I thought I would cut down a few trees, cut them out of the road, and be up there by 3 at the latest. Have to clean this up later. And yet another one. Granted, I am not taking video of every single tree and stuff I'm moving. I'm just trying to cut my way in. Which means get it out of the road. Make some of it suitable for firewood down the road at some point in time. But I keep coming up against trees. These things are getting heavy with ice and they being pulled out of the ground. A lot of them. You just lean over into the road. There's another branch down here. Oh, I thought it was a tree. Nope, didn't need the chainsaw for that one. And then you have big branches that just fall out of the trees. They get broken off. And I'm not at the split yet. I think you can see it up there. Here's the split. Sometimes he does leaning ones over. You just kind of drive through them. If they're not that big, it doesn't do much. Or you kind of drive over them. Though the bigger limbs and stuff, you got to get out and move them. And look at where that sun is. It's starting to go down. There's branches all over this split. And sometimes the branch wins. Okay, we're getting going, and yet another one. The top broke out of this tree. And the camera dies. Okay, next morning. This is where I stopped. This tree has had some other damage to it. So these two big branches were leaning over the road. They got enough ice and crashed down in the road. It was getting dark at this time, so I didn't do anything until the next morning when I got some backup. This one was pulled out. It was still in the stump. Leaned over, I cut off the stump. And I got the excavator up there to help dig me out. Well, no real digging involved here. To help move brush and trees to the side so we can get in. Because around 4:30, 5 o'clock, I stopped and had to walk the rest of the way up. Here we have the driveway straight down, the corner up. Yeah, it doesn't look too bad from the air, but when you get on the ground, broken off tops, lots of ice. So we're going up to another site that has excavation being done. I think we might be done for the year. So you can see all the little trees down there, and they look little until you're actually on the ground. We left quite a bit of it, so it still needs to be a lot trimmed, but just trying to get the big stuff out of the way so you can pass by it was a chore. Now we're coming up on a driveway to the right. You can see the chain there. We're on the right, all going through that mess. They got a lot of cleanup on their driveway to do before they can get in there. So bring a chainsaw, guys. And as we keep going, there's more trees. Look at that line of trees just leaned over. It's in the road. You can't really pass by it. You can't really get to the right much to go around. All need to be cut off and pushed to the side. Since I was doing all the cutting, I wasn't taking much video on that. You'd have little stretches of nothing, but usually there was something in the road. Sometimes you just get around it and go. Other times you have this whole line of little trees that cascade over, and you just got to cut them down. And then the excavator would move them off to the side. That's down a little valley, and it comes back up, and you got this big tree. There it is on the left, and you got this mess onto the right. Needs to be cut out. There it is. There's the tree down there. Come up and around, and there's more stuff in the road, and more stuff. And right in here, we stopped. It's like, we can't get there. He's got his other backhoe out there he can't get to. Because there's a lot more trees down in there that need to be cut off. We're getting another wintry mix. As I'm speaking now, this is a Wednesday. No, this is a Thursday. Wednesday's when I left. And that other place is out there towards the top of the view there. So it's ways out. Okay, we're going down the road from my place. just to see what's left after we've trimmed everything. Trimmed a lot of the stuff on the left. I should say trim, I shouldn't say cut. Stuff on the right still needs to be cut off. Some stuff, hoping that that melts off on the left up there and goes up a bit more. Stuff on the right needs to be cut off and disposed of. There's a lot of stuff that we can get around, but it still needs to be trimmed off, cut off, and disposed of. Which means over the side of the road. There's the log that was over the road. Going down here. There's all kinds of branches and stuff in the road that I've thrown off. Trees we've cut off, mostly the small stuff, but there was some good sized stuff in there. There's still some stuff leaning over. It's possibly going to be leaning more by the time I get back up there again, with more winter coming. And then that big tree that we were talking about that I couldn't get past previous nights coming up. See if I can point out. It looks like it's coming up here on the left. The remnants of it. There it is. We've cut off a lot of stuff. He's tried pushing back a lot of stuff with, there's another tree there that didn't get videoed. More stuff that needs to be taken out. He pushed back a lot of stuff as he came up. It's still not totally out of the road. So we need more trimming. You can see here and there that our tops are broken out. They're still attached. Now we need to cut the base off and get rid of it. Or leave it laying up there as long as it's not in the road. Not leaning over the road like that one. But all the ones that are leaning that are up high all need to be taken out. Another ice storm come through, all that stuff that's leaning will be in the road and make it unpassable. If we could run it through the wood chipper, we'd have a mountain of wood chips. Here we're coming down to the split. Off to the left will be the south gate. Off to the right. Get around here is towards the north gate. The excavator is trying to get some of his equipment off the mountain, so I'm going down there to pick him up to bring him back up so he can get his truck. More stuff needs to be trimmed off and cut down. It's leaning over into the road. Get back up here. Here's the split. You can see the trees down there. You can't get through there. So we cut them off and move them off to the side. So a lot of the ones that I cut coming up here had grape on them. So I'd cut off limbs and trunks and whatever and try to move them, and the grape vines were tough to move anything, so I had to cut the grapes also to get limbs and whatever moved. So down at this lower elevation it's not as bad, but there's still a bunch of leaning trees coming into the road and broken off ones. You can see once in a while there's still some ice in the trees, mostly limbs. Broken off. Coming up to a house here on the left. There was a tree that broke a limb off, and it broke right next to his gate, right there on the left. So that needs to be removed before he opens that gate. Luckily, he has another gate there on the left. Still branches in that are leaning over and in. All that stuff needs to be removed. Keep it clear next to the road, because when you get winter weather up there, it just latches onto the tree limbs and drags them down. Probably also need to think about cutting all of the dead trees down that are within 10 feet of the road. Because when they're going to get blown down, they're going to blow into the road. Once in a while they don't, but here comes the other tree cut down, or cut up there on the right, back there. Look at that one leaning over. Once these guys sprout leaves in the spring, that's going to get heavy and it's going to drag a lot of these trees that are leaning over into the road also. It'd be like the ice, except it's going to be leaves. Tree on the right. Here comes the first tree that I cut on the right there. Pushed it over when he came up. Broken tops. That's broken into the road, so yeah, a lot of stuff needs to be cleaned up still. And we're not even talking the other end of the road, because the split is about halfway up. And then it goes down to the other side of the road. Look there, cut up to the backhoe. Start back up here. Stuck in the ditch. It's like when I was coming up, I was just trying to move it out of the way. More stuff on the right that needs to be trimmed off. Not as bad down here where it's lower in altitude, but there still was and is stuff that needs to be trimmed up that the ice did bring over. winter's not as bad because there's electrical lines. That pole back there was like the last one coming up the mountain. Nobody else has got electricity on this end. But the electric company comes in once in a while and trims underneath its electrical lines. So if we could get everybody to get electricity up here, we would have the power company trimming a lot of our sides of road. I think that would be extremely expensive. Because I think my first quote, almost 20 years ago to get electricity put up there was, about as much as my property cost itself. And I don't think they factored in clearing the trees to get up there for the power poles. So it would have been a lot more than what the property cost. Here's the shell pit. He was going to take a scoop from the shell pit, some of the dirtier dirt, and put it next to the gate because there's a drop off by the gate. I go down here to open the gate. A little ice there. Watch it. Now he's up there trying to get a scoop full to put next to the gate to get a little bit more footing on the left side of that gate there. And he comes down after I get the gate open and he says, "The shell pit is rock hard." Now here's what the property or the building site looks like. A little ice on it, not much limbs down. And this is during the fall. Much nicer. So that's all I got for this ice storm. We'll see what it looks like when we get up there next time after this wintry mix has hit it. And thanks for watching. Please subscribe to keep track of us. Give us a thumbs up. Leave us a comment. Something else you want to see on the property, let me know.